I'm joined in studio by DrCasper.
DrCasper, well.
Joining me now in the studio, we have DrCasper.
Thank you, everybody. Hope everyone can hear me. And thank you, DrCasper, for organizing this. Jenkins, for your wonderful presentation. Fortunately or unfortunately, Dr. Ashira, and I really appreciate your presentation. You cover really all my points. So it's probably will just be, I will not try to repeat what you've said. You've covered some of the key items I wanted to highlight. So I might just maybe summarize some of what you said, maybe in a different angle. But and thank you for what you're doing at Wire. That's a fintech. That's an emerging area. Some area I'm hoping to get into after school. So you and DrCasper are an inspiration. I'm a fifth year doctoral student, so I know you've gone through, so I'm hoping I can survive. I'm hoping I can finish by May and join you in this entrepreneurial journey. I'm gonna share my slide here. Can you see my screen? I hope so too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, and I'll not repeat whatever, again, Dr. Ashira has said, but I wanted to start with, my definition of financial freedom. And Dr. Ashira covered that. It's what it helps you achieve. For me, my definition is simple. I want to afford a lifestyle without time and money constraint. However, I define that lifestyle for me and my family. And as also Dr. Ashira said, going beyond yourself, being of significance. So however you define that lifestyle for you, for yourself, for your community without time and money constraint. And he did not talk about mindset. I wanted to stress a little bit about mindset because and maybe they can tell you as an entrepreneur or, taking that journey of the initial risk taking, it all starts from the mind. You kind of have to, think about it and think, okay, this is where I want to go and have the fortitude to take those risks and all that. So I wanted to stress that the biggest journey I found when talking to people, and I've talked to a lot of people about their financial plan and all that, I find it's the attitude of the mind. Sometimes you don't think you can make it, or you look at where you are and you don't think that you qualify to be somebody who can be financially free at whatever age. Maybe you're starting late, you're 40 and you're like, well, my time is past. Or sometimes you're 20 and you're thinking, I'm too young, I have too much time. And so getting to the right framework, regardless of where you are, I'm 40 something. This is where I am. It's the reality. So from here, what are my attitudes about money? What are my attitudes about financial freedom? And where do I want to go? And, mindset, for those who are, who are Christians, in the Bible, it says, the renewing of your mind. So that's a hard thing. So it does require, you going out and seeking help. If you don't have the right attitude, if you don't have the right relationship with money, do you spend more than you earn? Do you, are you buying a house you cannot afford? Are you trying to keep up with the Jones and all that? So if you don't have your mindset right, also, that will become a hindrance. And the prior speakers talked about, seeking knowledge and going out there and having, I should say, mindset. You can have a fixed or a growth mindset. If you have a growth mindset, regardless of where you are, you can go whatever direction you have. We were told about the SBA loans and all that. I think that's great information. There are other information out there, talking to like Dr. Ashira, and he can walk you through that journey. And most times we don't reach out there and seek for help. So again, I wanted to stress mindset. The second one, which was covered, just having your dreams and goals written down. I do believe if you write something down, you have a higher chance of, of achieving it. And maybe this way I can double click on the numbers and ask, when you think of what you define as your financial freedom, do you have a number in mind? Is it vague? For most of us, if I ask you, what are you targeting? Are you trying to get 2 million, 3 million? If you live in dollars, to be wealthy, there's a survey that went out there that kind of defined what is wealth. Depending on whatever state, if you live in California, you need roughly 4 million to be classified as a wealthy individual. If you live in Dallas, you can get by 2.2 to 3 million of net worth. So have that number in mind. If you just want to work traditional career and retire, where are you with your money right now? I can throw a few numbers there and say, by age 50, which is when most people start thinking of retirement, you should at least have 6 times your salary saved. By age 60, you should have a good rough number is usually around 10, 11. By the time you're 65, you need to have like 15 times your salary. And if you are young and you just want to jump into the FIRE movement, a good rough number I usually tell people is think of how much you earn per year and multiply that by 25. That's a good number to shoot for. So if you're making 100,000, 2.5 million would give you a decent lifestyle. And the numbers come to being able to spend 4% of that money to maintain your lifestyle for a year. I also wanted to throw one last point there, alignment with the key stakeholders, and say, and this is after talking, I'm married, we have 3 kids. I can tell you, you're not going to be fine on your path to financial freedom if you're not aligned with your key stakeholders. By key stakeholders, those who matter to you, your spouse. Divorce is expensive, so you might be on a path to financial freedom and then you don't take care of relationship and she walks with 50% and it becomes a mess. So when you write those plans down, be in alignment with your spouse and make it a journey together. And how do I get to that part of financial freedom? And this is, I think Dr. Ashira covered them in more detail. I avoided putting them itemized because I have way many more slides I can walk you through A, B, C, D of past savings, all types of investment. That's my area of expertise. So happy to talk to anybody who want to talk numbers in detail or evaluate different investment plan. I specifically work in private equity, so I analyze businesses all day, every day, and we determine whether we are buying them or selling them. But how reality check? Number one, if you go to the hospital, the doctor usually takes your temperature, checks your heartbeat and all that. So number one of your path to financial, once you get your mind right, the second one is, where am I? How much do I have? Asset, liability. Are you in a hole? Are you still digging that hole? There's a phrase that says, if you're in a hole, the number one is you need to stop digging before figuring how to get out. How much are you bringing? That's your income minus expenses. And how your timeline, how long is your timeline to, financial freedom? I'm 40 years old. Geez, I'm in my 40s, towards 50s. And, I had my goals and, it's been a a reflective time to see, where am I on that path? And I've adjusted my timeline. Like, okay, now by whatever, I need to have X amount of dollars. I need to, be in a path, entrepreneurship and all that. So you kind of have to have a timeline. You just cannot work without a clear, defined timeline, say 10 years. And then, then execute on that. If you have 20 years, you're young like Roy. Jesus, I knew what I knew now when I was Roy's age. You're like, I have 25 years or 20 years, just to throw some numbers there. If you start with 1,000 and you put 1,000 every month into an investment account that gives you, above 10%, in 20 years, you will have 1.2 million. So if you can, along the way, increase that amount, you can comfortably have that 2.5 million. That's sort of, reasonable of 100,000 maintenance expense times 25. The number you might be considered wealthy and all, you can. So the point is, if you look at how much time you have. If you're 40, you have maybe less time. If you're 30, in 20 years, if you actually execute on a clear, defined path, you can be on a path to financial freedom by 45 or by 50, whichever number you pick. Evaluate reality, have a timeline, and then execute on that. Dr. Washira mentioned about optimizing your career. I wanted to double click on that slightly and say a lot of us maybe didn't have the opportunity to go to Ivy League school. As I'm going to UNT. It's certainly not one of the top schools. If you're going finance, it should have been Wharton. I did not know that when I applied that school really mattered a lot in finance. And if you looked at the number of statistics of those who are wealthy in this country, super wealthy, by super wealthy, they say a network of 30 million plus. Harvard is number one, followed by, I think, Stanford, and number 3 is Wharton. So, not saying that you have to go to Ivy League school, because most of us might be past that age, but think of it for your kids. If you can give your kids that leg up on their career, their choice of career, whatever they're choosing, whatever path it is, I know career is also what you're passionate about, but also analyze the numbers and make sure that you put yourself on a high probability of, achieving your path. They talked about savings and investment. I'm not going to go into detail because that's a big topic. But if you want to talk about savings and investment, I can talk to you about stocks. I can talk to you about private equity. You can talk to Marcy about real estate. And then the other one is business and side hustles. You can certainly talk to Roy and Dr. Washira. And one thing, and this was my wife who said I have to mention this, and it's always on my slides, prioritize your physical and mental health. You will not be on a path to financial freedom if you don't take care of your shell and your mind. And most of us just find a way to take care of that, be it exercise, be it seeking counseling. If you're getting stressed and all that, you're not going to be on a path to financial freedom if you don't have the shell that's going to take you there. So don't want to double click on that. Again, I can go into detail on that. And then lastly, what if, and Jenkins talked about this and said, one, you have a plan and you're executing it. What if plans hit the fan? Things happen, things go wrong. Are you prepared for that? So number one is always emergency fund. That's the basics. Number 2, insurance, health, life, car insurance. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. There's a general rule, 6 months of emergency funding and all that just evaluate what works for you. Insurance, there are a lot of insurance professionals who can talk to you on all kinds of insurance. I wanted to throw that third one, which is social insurance. It kind of ties into, being in alignment with all your stakeholders. If you're in business, having the right partners. If as an individual, having some social network of people who can be there for you if things go south, because we all need that social network. You're not alone. We are certainly a community, and there are people who you are alone in an island, and you might achieve whatever you need, but then you find yourself pretty lonely out there. So just wanted to throw that out there, and that's about it. I don't want to go into any more detail. Thank you.